he's actually a fan of it.
Doing Black Mirror, I think often people assume it's sort of written by the Unabomber, that I'm sort of like some anti-tech, do you know what I mean? Like sitting in a log cabin and like, scowling.
That story's still a hit right here on WNYC. If you're heading out the door, take us with you in the WNYC app if you don't have it already.
How to plan money decisions when the economic rules change in a blink.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is currently looking for individuals in a variety of career fields who are interested in building a career and joining an inclusive and unique culture. More information, including application, at progressive.com/careers.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. After President Trump's abrupt U-turn on tariffs yesterday affecting most countries in the world but China, stock prices soared. The stock market posted its third biggest single-day jump since the Second World War. With the NASDAQ up 12%, NASDAQ futures are back down about 2% this morning. Investors have just been reminded that the economic landscape can be painted over in an instant, with President Trump saying that he acted, quote, instinctively more than anything else. Russ Mould is investment director at the UK-based AJ Bell.
Having to try and manage your money according to policy, which can change very quickly, or a social media post, which can appear even quicker, is very, very difficult. So I think the secret is really, if you possibly can, not get dragged into the moment-to-moment, day-to-day news. If you've taken a little bit more risk than you feel comfortable with, maybe that's what you need to be checking for, because in the end, investing is about patient accumulation overnight. And if it's keeping you awake at night, then you probably have taken more risk than perhaps you've thought, and maybe that's what you should be checking on.
Crude oil, using the New York price, is under $61 a barrel as we speak, down this morning. That, I think, is in part a bet that some big economies around the world could be headed for an economic downturn amid all this uncertainty about, for instance, world trade. You must see risks of a downturn, Mr. Mould.
I think the longer that we have this policy uncertainty, I think that's a very, very genuine risk. And I must admit, I'm glad I'm talking about this rather than actually running a company. You've got an awful lot of different things to think about. You don't know at the moment from one day to the next whether, America or one of your other potentially biggest trading partners is putting tariffs on or not. And that's going to be a really, really difficult thing for you to navigate. Under those circumstances, therefore, there has to be a risk that executives just sit on their hands, don't make that investment, don't make that hire, and that could still lead to the slowdown that many people were fearing, like, say, Goldman Sachs, before the president decided to impose the 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs.
Russ Mould, investment director at the UK-based investment platform AJ Bell. Thank you very much.
Okay, no, it's a pleasure to help.
President Trump said market jitters prompted him to bail on tariffs. In an apparent reference to market players, Trump said they were getting, quote, a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. Yesterday, we had been reporting on strains in the bond market, but strong demand for U.S. Treasury bonds yesterday also helped ease the agita, and the bond market is up this morning. The 10-year rate is down 4.3%. And remember, the big U.S.-China tariffs remain. U.S. 125%, China 84%. Now to products U.S. farmers tend to sell in China and have trouble selling elsewhere. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer reports.
Washington and Beijing are playing a game of chicken, and that includes chicken feet. If U.S. products get too expensive in China, American farmers are worried about losing a key market for things like chicken feet that people in many other countries don't eat, but the Chinese love.
We very well could take a hit.
Davy Stevens raises chickens in Clinton, Kentucky, specifically broilers for Pilgrim's Pride. So he doesn't sell directly to China, but he knows it's the market for chicken feet. He's hoping Chinese consumers love them so much they won't blink at higher prices.
When you go somewhere in the supermarket or go to eat, if there's something you really want and it's a delicacy you're willing to pay and you've got the money, you're probably going to pay for it. When the emerging middle class I've seen evolve into China, maybe the consumer's willing to pay more.
Pig parts that don't appeal to Western palates are also big in China.
Snouts, feet, ears, organs, those types of products.
That's Joe Sheely, spokesman for the U.S. Meat Export Federation, a trade group. He says U.S. pork will now face a total 131% import tax in China. China imports almost 60% of U.S. pork parts, so it would be a difficult market to replace, although Sheely says they've tried.
We have made an effort to, for example, ramp up our promotion of those types of products in Latin America, Southeast Asia, places like that. unfortunately, you piece those markets together, they really don't add up to what China is able to take.
Sheely says the cost of animal feed is falling, driven by lower prices for corn and soybean meal, and that could partially cushion the blow if the Chinese market for pork and pig parts took a big hit from tariffs. But farmers don't have a huge profit margin because they're paying higher prices for other things.
You're looking at everything from building materials to insurance to fuel costs.
Add the uncertainty of the tariff war to the mix, and Sheely says it's no wonder that farmers are concerned about losing a key market for products that much of the world doesn't want. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, dedicated to helping businesses save time on office tasks and empower leaders with business buying solutions that support teams to focus on growing the business. Learn about smart business buying at amazonbusiness.com. And by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
You can get a bachelor's degree or, cheaper and faster, a certificate. A report out today from the National Student Clearinghouse finds students earning certificates rose 11% last academic year, while the full bachelor's degree number fell slightly. Here's Marketplace's Stephanie Hughes.
When Alexander Treya left the Army last spring after 10 years of service, he felt kind of scared.
It's a pretty daunting thing to kind of restart over again at 30, but I knew that I, wanted to work with my hands.
So he enrolled in the HVAC program at the Tennessee College of Applied Technology in Nashville. He expects to graduate in January with multiple certificates in the HVAC program at the Tennessee College of Applied Technology in Nashville.
There's been growing demand for workers with these types of vocational skills.
Shapiro says the jump in certificates is being driven by employers who want to be certain the workers they're hiring have a specific skill set.
Certificates really put a finer point on that and say, here are the things that this person has actually learned to do.
Shapiro says students are also attracted to certificates' lower cost and shorter time frame compared to higher degrees. Some take just a few months. I'm Stephanie Hughes for Marketplace.
Thanks, Stephanie. In Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio. It's the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM American Public Media.